Good morning and welcome to the crypto day morning, and this is the date of Sunday, the 23rd of December 2018. All bets, trades, and of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. And let's get started. First off, Bitcoin, not much to go over. What has been going on since yesterday? Well, this nice little break above the 18 average, which has followed through with very low volatility as we look at the size of these candles in here. Compared to the ones near the top, and even in here, they're getting a lot smaller. But it's maintaining the trend. After correcting within the 18 for 4 periods, it had a very small move, barely breaking above this resistance, pretty much a matching high. Still holding on, but right now having a major test within the 18 on the single hour. Whereas the daily time frame is seeing the major decline, a little bit of a rise since then, and holding a little bit above the 18 average. If there's going to be any correctionary moves, I'm going to be looking for this band to be the level of support, and if it can get above this level of resistance, I'll expect a nice leg higher. Let's move on to alternate coins. A monetary unit, ticker symbol MUE. When markets are ready to go, they go, and I wish I would have been able to find a way to see that the probability odds for a move of this nature to be more probable than the previous days before. Not the couple previous, but well, back in here when it was declining. And when you have the situation as it was holding amongst the 18 average, amongst its previous resistance, and how the last 2 days fared, I'm not that surprised. I've been talking about it. When we look at this on the 4-hour term, there we have it. It breaks this level of resistance, and it has 3 very good candles to the upside. And we can see here on the single hour just the length of the size of the move, going from 600 up to close to 1,000, almost 2x in a short period of time. So that means weekly term time frame, it's continuing more of a neutrality basis. The 18 average of highs is going to start to barely rise, or it is rather. If it can hold and stay above around 600, and even for that matter in the 500s, that would be very, very big, and thus an attempt to change the trend. And really, for what it's worth, the band has been flattening for a while now. This is resistance established amongst the weekly term time frame, but I would still like to see it maybe go a little bit higher, maybe up to about 1277, maybe spend a couple periods after that just going sideways or small correctionary down to the 18, and then break it. And of course, when these things break above on the long term, you could easily see, like, out of 6 weeks or 7-8 weeks, like all of them green, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 periods with major rises to the upside. But for now, daily time frame has had that break. Key areas for where it came from: 644, 589, but the 18 average would be rising around the low 500s. That to me is your must hold area. No Limit Coin 2 is next, and I've been talking about this one amongst the strength it's been showing, and how amazingly it's been able to have this run without correcting within the 18 and it's cost me buy orders, but that's fine because I've been selling and not buying back as of yet. But I realize with these markets that it's going to come back down. Question is when, and how much more further can this go up before it does? And well, with some of these previous moves, it can go much further at times. But after this green candle original update, making that statement saying, okay, time to play for a big gain. If you were waiting for resistance established coming back to the band, it hasn't came back to the band. So this is a spot where you just have to give it the benefit of doubt of being bullish at some point as it's going higher. Green candle up here, nice. This here is a correctionary move. It just came close to the 18 lows, not quite. Then it paused that moment, or the moment of the 2 periods prior, which was a very strong statement, and no surprise to have a follow green up, and then 2 sideways moments, and then within the last 2 periods has had very good movement towards the upside within the 4-hour term. There's your support and correctionary. Resistance was established before. It came close to it here. Back to this area of support. Then it's now just broken this area. So if you're ever looking for a play of a break of resistance and it's just clearly done it on a just now, well, just now it's done it. And if we look at this finally on the single hour time frame, it's been doing such over the last couple of hours or so, hour and change maybe. And let's quickly go through the rest of them before we go into a hockey update. And EOS is having a day where it came down the 18, looking to be breaking above the 18 average of highs. It seems very close, at least at this point. And doing such, so stage 1, band flattened out, stage 2, resistance established, stage 3, back to the band. Now it's looking to attempt stage 4. LITECOIN is establishing resistance, is making a statement, leaving the 18 average. It was flat. Very good move at this point. How long or how much further this can go? It's a relatively new move, as it's within this period where it is now just breaking out. As we can see on the single hour time frame, it's really even just this hour. How much further this up move can go, you know, who knows? This thing could easily pierce up here. I mean, it did it in this day here. There's a lot of possibility when these things are breaking out for the gains that can come into play. But like always, I'm going to want to see it come back to where, if it's going to have a correction, correct the previous resistance, correct within the 18. Breadcoin is the next one, ticker symbol BRD. Over the last few days, it's been just going up back and forth amongst this 18 at the upper end of this range. When looking at this, though, in a shorter term time frame, what I'm liking about this is starting at the 1900 timestamp, it gets to the 18 highs. Then it has a pause day, staying amongst such. Last period, it had a very small but noticeable breakout, closing at the highs. This one, it is extending the gains. It is now at a major level of resistance. Most certainly, a good chance that it could take it out. And if it does so, it would be breaking the 18 on the daily. And when you see all these moves, I wouldn't be surprised if it has a 20, 30, 40% push, and then comes back, of course, because that's what it usually does. QTUM on the daily time frame, looking to break out for a possible leg higher. It's right at its level of resistance as well. Gigabyte had this resistance established for stage 2. Stage 3 is coming back to the band. It looks like it wants to finish that stage because it's in the band now. Price action gets up to 296-ish and higher, then it's going to be attempting to break the level of resistance amongst the DGB. The POA network, there are tons of these coins doing showing a lot of possible signs where we could be seeing these markets go higher. On the daily term time frame, the band is flattened out. Within the last couple of periods, does it look like it's ready to break through? It looked to me like it is, and when you look at this on the 4, most certainly, I'm seeing very good setup. This level of resistance in here, roughly at around the 800 mark, is now congesting amongst such. It established a little bit higher of one on this one, tested it near it again. I like how it's corrected it and come back, but this thing seems very poised to have a much higher probability of a good gain moving further. Litecoin seems just as poised, if not even more poised than a lot of the other ones I've just recently shown. Well, it's looking to do the exact same 3. Stage 1, band flatten out. Stage 2, establish resistance, back to the band. And, well, it's left it, and, well, it's not that far from breaking it as well. Ethereum Classic next on the daily. And I mean, this looks so beautiful, the way this is set up, how this is supporting well above the 18 average of lows, enough for it to really start increasing. And it looks like it's breaking out of resistance, looking at this on the daily chart. In fact, if we draw one of those nice little horizontal rays in here, we can see that this multiple hit level of resistance has now had a decent break above, and it has held and stayed and worked well above this line for now its 3rd period. So most certainly this looks very poised moving forward as well. Ohmies go. Are you ready to go? It sure looks like that to me. I like how on the daily chart in the last few days, how it's looking amongst such this level of resistance. It looks, again, it looks like any time that thing could pop for a decent leg higher. This is Loom on the 4-hour on the daily term, so not quite as good with the declining, but I'm basically going through every single coin, and I'm picking like 90% of the ones. I'm not passing on many of the ones. I'm just sorting it based on percentage gain, and all the percentage gainers are pretty much like, look at this, ICX showing the same thing. Very good move. PivX, was it? Okay, well, let's take a look at this on the 4-hour, 1 hour. In fact, I got a better PivX one, but the 1 hour looks ready and poised to go out. Let's take a look at these via the losers next, because again, I sorted this via the high. If I sort this via the loss, we got via, and I've just been selling some of that, so I'm not surprised that it's coming back. In fact, I'm kind of now this is that spot. Okay, now you've had that rally higher. Now it's in its job of trying to hold and stay where it was. Litecoin against Ethereum, I end up buying this at the 25 mark, so it's just fun to trade that back and forth. Strat, I mean, the losers are basically the ones giving back a lot of the gains. It's in a nice little move, still ascending triangle within the last few days. So this should be very interesting to look on the 4 hour. We can see the higher lows and the lower highs very nicely. And I'll keep it on the 4 hour time frame because that's where all the setups seem to be good. ARN, it's been coming back. It's one of the losers. AID, I've been buying that, so I'm not surprised that it's losing. Poly, let's take a look at this on the daily chart because it's coming back to where it came from. So the losers, and Steam was up yesterday, so it's just barely coming back. And now EVX is a loser at 1.1% down. The market is doing very, very well at this stage. It looks as if there's a better chance of a good global reason for a broad market cap, at least the ones not against Bitcoin, and even Bitcoin showing good possibilities as well, that we could be ready for a good global surge very soon, at least just based on what I'm seeing on the early looks so far. And speaking of early looks, let's now move on to hockey. So those whom aren't interested and are tuning out, thank you for tuning in. Those whom are, I've been talking about the puck line over the last day, really, and how it seems to be a very phenomenal bet, at least this year so far, and should remain so until the bookmakers change it up or the metagame changes back, which I think it's more likely, at least this year, that would have to, that the profitability for the play would end when the bookmakers decide it's time to end it, because they pay such high prices for teams to win by 2. And for the first 200 plus plays of the year, taking only home favorites, whom are obviously to win by 2 or more, and 80% or so of games have home favorites. This is what the results would be, starting off very spectacularly, having a large dip from a play 110 to about 130. So over 25 games, you pretty much lose almost every single one. I'll be curious to see how this, for many reasons I'll be curious. How will this look with lower volatility? This is playing 10%. This is about the most aggressive I could think of. I really want to see how this does. So I'm going to try it with 5%. And there won't be as big of a decline, but there won't be as big of rallies when they happen as well. Then how does this look on a linear level? Meaning every single bet is always the same from the season's point on. So I'm going to go through those statistics, but this is from now, or from a season start to November the 15th. So I still got to do November 16th to December the 22nd, which I'll be doing that today. That'll only take me about maybe an hour at tops. And put the data together. Then after that, I got to take a look at historical results from the last 2, 3, 4 seasons, and I want to see how the transition up to and coming off of the Christmas break is for the higher scoring games and the more larger victories back then, comparing did they go up or down or stayed the same in the previous years, because that's very important, as today there's a handful of games and then there's 3 days off as the Christmas break is in place. And of course, within the risk that I'm doing, I'm going to look at the games individually. I'm not just going to play it blindly and always take home favorites. I'm going to look to see which teams are set up to have a better chance or a worse chance based on the 2 teams of having a 2-goal victory. And when I see that it looks not as good to bet, I won't do it as well, as basically that. And definitely if it looks good, it's no brainer I would. And if it looks average, the odds on it, the basic part of it is all these payouts here. 113. And for now, that will be the end of today's video. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.